Welcome to this episode of Be the Wolf. We're going to talk about those nasty things that get in the way of what you want to do, of your careers, your businesses, all of the thing. We're going to talk about how to handle obstacles. And, for those of you who are business owners, you need to know how to handle obstacles and you need to do it well. Most everybody can sort of skirt them. They can get around them if they want to. But when you own a business and it's your livelihood, there is no choice but to deal with them. And some other people out there, they deal with them too because something they're working on is so meaningful to them that they're going to just push through no matter what the obstacle is. I am here today to talk with Pepper Ann. She is a true crime author and she has encountered some obstacles. We are going to talk about some stuff, y'all. But before we dive into her story and the crazy obstacles that she had to overcome, and she did them with more grace than probably a lot of people do. But I want to give her the opportunity to tell us a bit about what it is that she does, tell us maybe just a little snippet about her book. We'll go into it deeper. But Pepper Ann, let us know. Tell us all the things.
Okay, well, first off, I'm a true crime author and I love to write about injustices. I love to tell everybody the whole story behind the real story and let everybody make their own decision. And it's like it's become my signature, my thing. I love researching and writing and telling it as it is, and that's who I am. I'm just a true crime author trying to tell the story.
Yeah. So I'm curious, right? There's a lot of writers out there, a lot of
Mhm.
different kinds of writers. I write, I'm writing books, I write newsletters, copy, all kinds of things, some for marketing, some for fun. I used to write poetry, all kinds of things, but I never was a true crime author. So why is it that you are so committed to telling the whole truth and letting us make our own decisions?
Well, what got me into this genre was because I'd heard about a story of a family member who his story made national news back in 2001. He and four other uh, convicts escaped from a local county jail here in Texas. And I started reading and researching the real story, and there was a lot of hidden secrets and things that other people were involved in with him. And I had learned that they're still committing those crimes today. And he was the only one who took the rap for it. And so the reason it's true crime for me is because I wanted to expose all of them. And it just became my thing. It was just something that I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to let others know, hey, if you see this person, be aware, be on the lookout because they're hurting people. And once I wrote the book, I realized I want to tell on somebody else. I like being the tattletale on the wrong people. It's
Right.
fun. Yeah.
Well, and I love that it's important to you to really do the research and get the facts and have it be as clear as possible so that people can make up their own decisions. So often, when we talk about gossip, it's like, oh, she said this, and can you believe that he did this? And I bet you they're still doing that. And that one phrase, I bet you they're still doing that. 3 people later, is they're definitely doing that. And, you know, people's lives are destroyed from rumorville things without facts. So I love that it's important to you to expose the truth.
It is, and what I loved about writing it is that I was able to back everything up. I love the fact that you can have your index, and in the index you can put all the proof, all the stuff that people had tried to destroy, but they didn't know that somebody was going to come along and find an extra piece of paper and connect the dots. I love that when you can pull things out and tell the story, if you can back it up, then it just confirms everything. It's like, hey, wake up, people. Let's see what's going on. And to me, that's so important. Um, like you said, gossip flies, and by the time it gets to the third or fourth person, it's a rumor mill, and it's nothing but lies. And to me, it's just important to get the whole truth of the story. And
Yes.
let people decide on their own. I'm not trying to sway anyone in one direction or the other. I'm not. I just want to tell the story,
Yeah.
and I didn't have, when I was researching, I had to dig. I had to do it old school style. I had to dig through files and things that people had, like I said, they had thought the records were destroyed. And what I loved about it is I found pieces, little tags, pieces of paper and things that have made people that I've exposed scared. It terrified them. And it should, because if
Yeah.
you're hurting people, you know that'll come out. It comes out. Everything comes out eventually.
Yeah, it must be thrilling when you're on a quest to solve. It's like solving a problem. When you finally solve the problem, I can't even imagine the dopamine that happens in your body. Like, oh, yes, uh-huh, oh yeah, all right. Okay, and that's, you know, and it's like it's handling the obstacles. So uncovering a true crime story that's been sort of put away, like nobody's looking into it anymore, in
Mm-hmm.
a way, that itself is just one big obstacle.
No, it is, and what's even what to me is really comical about it, not the crimes. The crimes that were committed were not comical, because there were a lot of victims involved, um, but what's funny about it is the people that I started to expose, they were around a lot of individuals that were very shady, and those people stepped forward. Some of them stepped forward and they said, I have proof of this, I want to talk to you, and they did. And I guess they wanted to clear their mind. They wanted to clear their conscience,
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, people kind of realize, hey, maybe this wrong needs to be righted. And so it's kind of funny because they were telling on each other,
Right.
and a lot of people don't expect that. I mean, I certainly didn't.
Well, one of the things that really happens subconsciously, and this is, part of being the wolf, is when we do something that is against our value system, the things that we believe to be true and right, even if we know it's dangerous to step forward, it will create this internal conflict. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you've got to keep your family safe and do the things, but at some point, that not standing up for your values and what you think is true and right eats away at a person. It's like a little rat nibbling away at your self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And so over time, it does a lot of damage. There's this park by my house with trees that are over 100 years old. And the other day I was there, and one of these trees just like, you heard it rip, and you heard it like, I watched it very slowly fall. And what happened was that some rats were burrowing under the tree, and they had been gnawing at the wood, and they had basically separated the tree from half of its roots.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is sort of what happens when you do things that are against your values. It severs part of your roots, and it creates this situation where over time you might just fall over like the tree.
Mhm.
So I love that people stepped forward and were willing to say, I'm not going to let these rats eat at my roots anymore. I'm
Mhm.
going to do what I know is right and get the information out there.
I agree. I think that is what made me realize that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. It was that, and then another aha moment that I had, aside from these individuals telling on one another, um, I met with some of the individuals who were victimized by these people, these perpetrators. Um, Bob, he's the one the story is about, and the other escapees. And I became very close to these people. And I realized that they were kind of healing by talking to me and telling me their story. So it was such a great feeling to write this and to research it and to meet these amazing, remarkable people and to see that maybe in some way it was helping them also. So there's so many pieces to this book. And once I finished it, I thought, I want to do another one. I want to see if I can help somebody else. I want to I want to do it.
Yeah.
In whatever way it is, if it's exposing stuff or giving answers to people or helping them heal, that's what I want to do.
Right. And you said it earlier, like the wanting the justice, like exposing injustice. And that's probably, if you were going to do a class on finding your purpose, it probably has something to do with uncovering injustice.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Well, it's funny. So we think about obstacles, and there's a few ways people handle them. Sometimes you hit an obstacle, you're working really hard on something, you hit an obstacle and you freak out, you get emotional, you yell at people, you stomp, you kick, you uh, scream. Sometimes you will just shut down and go to bed for a few days.
Mhm.
And other times you'll give up. Now you hit some obstacles.
Mm-hmm. I did.
So, would you share with us some of those obstacles along the way and of course, obviously, finding information is an obstacle in itself, but you had some that were a little bigger than that.
I did. So while I was working on the project, my work had been deleted multiple times. I had to rewrite the story 3 different times
And how did that happen?
because they had hacked the individuals I was exposing. They had hacked into my computer and they deleted my work. They got into it and they wiped it off. Um, a bug. One of my laptops that I'd had, um, they had sent it in an email, and I'd had a virus. I opened it, um, and it destroyed everything. I had to give it to a dear friend of mine who works on computers. He works on mine, and he said, "Yeah, we need to get you up and going again. We need to get you another one because this you can't." I couldn't even turn my computer on. It was so bad. My editor was looking to see if I had sent him my most recent work. He couldn't find it. I had other family members looking to see if I'd sent it to him. This happened a couple of times, one through email, another one. They so boldly got into my computer and deleted my work. They deleted that. Um, and I had to keep doing it. I had to keep writing it.
Well,
And
what did you do though? Like the first time, because the first time I think is the most devastating with something like that. I know I've had my computer crash and lost all my stuff. It's nothing like that. I keep a lot of my stuff in the cloud for that reason. But I guess if you were going to hack, you'd hack the cloud. But yeah, tell me about how you handled that when it happened, because I can only imagine how much was going through your mind, your body.
I was devastated. The first time I thought, I don't want to do this again. the second time I thought, you gotta be kidding me. My family is the reason I kept going because they kept saying, you're going to do this. You found too much stuff. You have to get it out there. Um, they saw a side of me that a lot of people don't because I was devastated.
Right.
And they saw how distraught I was, how upset I was so angry. Um, I kept going back and I kept doing it. And I kept thinking, why is this happening? But every time that I had to rewrite it, it seemed like it was better than the one before. It was almost it was almost like God was saying, no, go on. Let's start again. I mean, I know I'm not saying God was the one that delayed. I'm not saying that, but I mean, it was but the third time I do want to share this because this is an amazing this is really what pushed me to write it the last and final time. And my family, they were like, you're gonna do it again, you're gonna do it again. And I had written it so many times I kind of remembered everything,
Right.
so I could just go in there and do it. But last and final time that it happened, I slammed the top of my laptop down, and I put it on the ottoman. I was working part time in a hospital gift shop. Um, I went into work and I thought, okay, I gotta get away from this. And I said out loud to God, just don't. I'm not doing this anymore. Just don't. I got to the hospital gift shop within, I don't know, it was probably 30 to 45 minutes of being there. I had the same encounter 3 times. There were 3 individuals who came in and they wanted a Coke, and they had not drank a Coke in one of the ladies was an ICU nurse upstairs from where I was at, and she hadn't had one in years, and she was craving it. And something told her she needed to come downstairs and pray for someone. And instead of going to the cafeteria, she came into the gift shop and we talked. And she said, "I'm supposed to pray for you. You're supposed to finish this book." That happened to me. There were three times that happened that evening. I called my family and I said, I can't believe this happened. I just can't believe this happened. This is a sign from God. I'm supposed to do this. So I picked it back up and it did it. While that was happening, our lug nuts were loosened on our vehicles, different vehicles, different times. I didn't want to do it because I was scared for my family.
Right.
I love them. I don't want anything to happen to them because it's something I'm doing. And they kept saying, keep going. There's something you're supposed to tell the world. You've got to do this. So between the lug nuts and the work being deleted, I don't think I really realized how much the story belonged to me until I got into the hospital gift shop. And I realized, this is mine. I have something to tell, and I'm going to tell it.
Well, and it's so powerful that your family was behind you, even though it potentially meant danger for them.
They're the only reason the book's out there. They're the only reason. Um, they believed in me. I'm very fortunate to have those people in my corner. They love me and believe in me. And yeah.
It's amazing what we can do when we have somebody that believes in us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about obstacles, and anybody that's trying to do anything big, write a book, build a business, claw your way to the top of a career, find a love. That's a big one that's healthy and beautiful. There's always going to be obstacles. And sometimes we don't have the confidence and the self-esteem within ourselves 100% of the time, because often we have the confidence to do it, but there are times when those obstacles come crashing down, and when they keep coming and coming and coming. And it's so hard to pick yourself up and keep going, but having just even one person to say, I believe in you, I see you, I know you can do this, is enough to get you through to the next step, to actually overcome the obstacle. Now I know.
For me that's what it was. It was my family. They're the ones that, and you know, and my friends. I had a great support system, and I needed it. You know, what you need is always there if you just step back and look. You always have, whether it's one or 100, it doesn't matter. You always have it. You just have to step back and look at your surroundings, and then look at your potential. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and one of the pieces too, I love that you say step back and look. When we're faced with an obstacle, we are so often looking at what we lack,
Hmm.
looking at what's not there. I had these expectations that I was going to get this done on the first try. And so all we can see is that expectation poof into the atmosphere, it's gone, and we don't have it. And we don't think about all that we gain when we get to the other side of one of those obstacles. So I'm in the mindset, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know, I say, well, the universe is working for you. My friend who went through a um, life life altering illness stuff, you know, she'll say when she's having a bad day, she'll be on the phone with me. I know the universe is working for me. And I don't say it because she knows it. She'll say it for herself. But, you know, it's hard sometimes to really see that and see that there is something good that comes from these crazy things that happen when you're deep in it, because all you can focus on is the lack instead of what you have. And so what I love about your work getting deleted is that it highlighted so strongly the support that you have.
You know, something else that happened, the support. I mean, I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate to have the people in my life that I do. I really am. When I first took this project on, I never written a book before. Never written anything, and I don't know. You know, I'm self-published, and I'd reached out to many literary agents in the beginning because I'd followed the steps. You know, let them know a little bit about your book, reach out and see if they want to take your story, and then you can continue to write. And I did that, and I was afraid in the very beginning that I didn't have the backing to write this book. I didn't have experience, so I doubted myself. Thought maybe I'm not good enough to do this. By the time it happened, the second time I had to rewrite this, all of those doubts went away. I thought I am the only one to write this book. And it was kind of like having that work deleted. Not only did it show me who's in my corner, it gave me the confidence to know that I'm the only one to do it. And I knew that I was. Others had tried to take this project on, and they backed out for one reason or another, whether they were scared or intimidated or they just didn't have the energy. I don't know. But it gave me the confidence to know that this is mine. I'm not letting anybody get in the way. And I realized that I was going to self publish. And once I did that, I threw all those negative thoughts out of my mind. And I just realized I don't have time for this. I've got to move forward.
Yeah.
So that what seemed like a negative at the time may have actually been a good positive for me. But to rewrite it that many times, it just drive you insane.
Well, as somebody who's worked with writing coaches and who is writing herself, uh, you rewrite and you rewrite and you rewrite. And to be forced to scrap it all and start from scratch, for it to give you the confidence of knowing that this is what's true and right for you, even if you had chosen to go out and find a outside publisher and not self-publish, you would have come off so differently writing those query letters because you knew you were the right person to do this. And so that to develop that kind of confidence in yourself as a writer is a huge it's a huge boon. You know, anyone that's submitted for publishing knows you're gonna get, you know, hundreds of rejections. It's just the way
Yeah,
it is.
it
I
is.
got hundreds of rejections and on my book, and now I'm so grateful, right? Here's the obstacles. The obstacles, like nobody wanted to publish my book of the people that I sent it to. I didn't finish it. I haven't
Mhm,
finished it yet, but because I took a detour and I was working on a different style of writing
mhm,
over the last year and a half. And I learned so much in this time that, oh my goodness, is my book going to be seriously so much better and
mhm,
so much more consumable for the average person. So, you know, these obstacles, if we can see far enough ahead, we can't always see what's up ahead, but
mhm,
there's always going to be a benefit. There's always going to be a learning. There's always going to be something if we choose to
mhm,
allow it. We could stay focused in the lack, what all the things that the obstacle took away from us, or
mhm.
we can choose to see, like, what are the things that this has given me? And what do I get to take with me as a result?
Sometimes it takes a little time
Yeah.
to get in that frame of mind. But if I had stuck with it and continued, now make no mistake about it, these literary agents were amazing with me, and they don't always respond to people if they're not
Right.
interested. And I had many of them say, "Keep going. Your writing is exceptional. This is a regional story. I don't know how I could push it, but you need to find its place in the literary world." And it was that encouragement, those encouraging words that kept me going. But if I would have continued to reach out to them, and that obviously was not the right place for me, I wouldn't have got my PA, Laura. I wouldn't have all the people I met, all my friends, my author friends, all these people. I would have gone down a completely different road. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that things worked out the way they did. Because for me, that's the way my story was supposed to go.
Well, and the funny thing too, often the obstacles I think are, you know, we could talk about God or the universe or
Mhm.
whatever. You know, like if you have this idea of something that you want, and the obstacles, I think, are there to teach you something that will prepare you for this big thing that you want. And so the universe or God or whatever thing out there knows what you want. And it knows that maybe you might not be ready. Like I tell my clients sometimes, you know, if somebody handed you, like maybe they have a company that they're bringing in 200K a year. And
Mhm.
if somebody handed you a $10 million company right now, would you be able to run it? And they say, sure, totally, totally, yes. You know, it's their first company. And the reality is they haven't overcome the threshold and the obstacles it takes to be able to do that. Once you've run a successful $10 million business, then you can build one from scratch rather quickly, just the way you rewrote the book, I'm sure, in way less time each time you rewrote it.
My next one better not be done. I don't think it will. My next one will go a lot smoother and it will be done a lot quicker. But
Well, right, because you take that every obstacle, every
right,
single time you have to redo, you get stronger, you get
right.
better, you gain your skills, all of those things. And but yeah, and so my clients, they'll say, well, I would really try my best. I know you would try your best. You better make sure you hire some good people real fast to help you because otherwise it's just going to go right down the drain. Um, but sometimes, you know, we try to, our dreams are bigger than what we're capable of yet. So often our obstacles come along and They may be frustrating, and they may knock you out for a month, even longer sometimes, depending. But if you really want what you want, and you look at what you can learn from it and how you can grow, you're going to be closer to those goals, those dreams that you want. So how long did it knock you out the first time?
Oh my goodness. So it took me a total of 12 years to get the book out there. Um, the first time, I think it probably took me, because I was completely new at this, so I had
Right.
to start my researching and everything. So I think it probably took me a little over a year, with all of my interviews and everything.
Yeah.
Um, a little over a year. Yeah, because I had to reach out to Bob, and ask him if I could write the story. And then I had to get my attorney. We had to do all the contracts, get everything in place. I had to find an editor. Um, from start to the time it was deleted, I want to say maybe about a year and a half.
I feel like that's pretty quick. I, for a new writer doing all the research and getting a lot of the writing done, that's
Mhm.
pretty fast.
Well, and I was probably, the first time they did it, I wasn't completely done with it. I was probably halfway through it the first time.
Yeah.
So that was, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And they knew what I was doing. So let me back up just a hair. When I first took this project on, um, the individuals who they wanted me to write the story with them because they wanted to oversee what I was doing. They were also the ones I was exposing. I told them, I said, no, absolutely not. We're not going to do this. So it was probably within maybe a month, 3 weeks to about a month after I met with them and said, no, we're not doing this. You do your own thing. That's when the lug nuts were loosened on our vehicles. And that's when I noticed problems with my computer.
Right.
So it seemed like it was shortly after I met with that individual who I exposed in the book, that my work was deleted the first time. And then it just seemed like, and then I don't know.
How long did it take you to pick up the writing again after it was deleted?
I think it, I think it probably took me, I think it probably took me about 2 weeks.
Oh, that's so fast. For something that big, that's really such a quick. I just have to commend you, because
Mhm.
to pick up after something you've spent a year and a half,
Mhm.
heart and soul, working on, to only stop for 2 weeks.
The only reason I did that is because, I would go and I would interview Bob, and he would make the statements to me. He would say, I'm not the only one that should be in here. There are other people that need to be in here.
And so Bob is your family member?
He's my cousin. He's the one that the story is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So without telling us the whole story, because we want people to get the book, without telling us the whole story, can you give us kind of a quick synopsis? I know there are true crime people out there that just love this stuff. So give us a little bit of detail about it so that they are inspired to pick it up the book.
Okay. Well, Bob is a very interesting character. He's still alive. He got into the life of crime when he was very young, and he was led into it, by other individuals. His father being one of them. And he got caught up in so much stuff he couldn't get out of, and he was working with law enforcement to commit these crimes. He got out of one big stint, got into another, and the individuals that I'm exposing are the ones who paid his bonds from the first big stint, and they never let him go. They never let him go. Um, He broke out of jail twice, and he is probably most known for that second jail escape. And it all ended in a shootout in North Texas. It was an 8-hour shootout, and he released the couple that was being held hostage in their home. And it's just an amazing story. But what made me get back on this story was that I didn't, Bob and I didn't know we were related to one another. So when I heard the story, I reached out and I said, "Hey, we're cousins. Our grandpas were brothers, and I want to write this story, but I want to tell it from not only your perspective but a family perspective. I want to tell the truth because there's so many articles out there that are written and they don't have the full story. So it's important to get it out there." And so each time that my work was deleted, he was one of the main ones, one of the main reasons I wanted to keep getting back on it, because he kept saying, "I'm not the only one that should be sitting in here." And he's right. He's right. So it was my family. My family had a huge impact on me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to get back on it. I thought, I don't want to do this. And I just felt compelled to do it.
Yeah, you told me when we spoke before, you told me that you would lie in bed and that the story would just keep going through your head. It wouldn't let you go. Right?
Yes. Yes.
And I know when you're driven by a purpose, it seems like even if you don't want to do it, you've got to do it. It's like it has a hold on you. It just won't let you go. And so people who are driven by purpose really understand this. It's like, there are multiple ways that we can fulfill our purpose. But man, when something's got a hold of you, it's like you've just got to see it to fruition.
You can't let it go. I felt like there were times I felt like it was almost my calling. It was like it was something I was supposed to do.
Well, okay, so before we talk, I want to talk a little bit more about obstacles in general, but I want people to know how and where they can get your book, how they can contact you. Tell us all that information.
Okay. Well,
people want to read about an 8-hour shootout in Texas. I know.
There were parts of it that were kind of comical. But everybody got out alive and safe. The only one that didn't get out safe was the compadre of Bob's, who was shot in the abdomen, which he should have been shot because he didn't have any business getting out of jail in the first place. But everybody else, it was safe. They were safe. It was fine. Probably my website would be the best place to get a hold of me. It's thepepperandauthor.com. My book is available all over the place. I don't know very many brick and mortar stores that it's located in. I know a few local stores in Texas. But you can go onto my website, and there is a way you can contact me. You can sign up for my newsletter, which we send out twice a month. My assistant Laura is on top of that. She's the one that sends it out. She's amazing. So she's in charge of that. But anyhow, you can email me. You can contact me through the website, and then you can buy the book anywhere. You can type in the Notorious Texas Swindler, and it'll pop up from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target, anywhere.
All the places.
And it's even in local libraries all across the U.S. So
I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a cool thing because, man, I went to a library not that long ago here in Brooklyn, and there were hardly any books. I was like, what is this? It's very confusing. But so the Notorious Texas Swindler. So if you all are listening, open up the browser right now, type it in, the Notorious Texas Swindler, and get a copy of that book. And you can go to the website at Pepper Ann, and it's ANNE author.com. So you guys can do all of that. And okay, so when it came down to it, deleted the third time, you wrote it again. Was there another obstacle, another big obstacle after that third time?
There sure was.
Oh gosh, what was it?
So at the very end, I had found some more evidence, some more proof. I had some questions about individuals who had gotten away with their crimes, how they got out of them. And I did not want to leave any questions in my book unanswered. And I was afraid, knowing myself, that I would want to know, well, why did this happen? What happened? And I was starting to get the information as I was. Somebody else had tried to come in and steal my work, meaning they copied part of the title of my book, and they had decided to write their own version of it. And it happened to be an individual who was working with the fella who contacted me in the beginning and wanted to oversee my work. So it ended up that they ended up writing a funny fiction story saying that it was based on true events, but it wasn't. They made light of all the crimes that were committed in the book in Bob's life. So I had to rush to get my book out, and I couldn't put that information that I got at the last minute about some of the individuals who got away with their crimes. Um, but my book got out there, and it's a completely different book from theirs because mine is all factual,
Right.
and it's verified. I've interviewed law enforcement, all the people who were victimized. I interviewed many people, so my book is backed up, and it tells a true story.
Yeah.
I was afraid that the individuals who were trying to beat me to the punch were going to get theirs out there first, and they beat me by a day or two.
Okay.
And my assistant, let me just tell you, it takes more than one person to write a book. It does. I don't understand people sometimes when they put their name on a book and that's it, but it takes more than an author to get a book out there. It really does.
Yeah.
For me, it's literary attorney, it's, the editor, it's my PA. There's so many people involved. Um, Laura had come in kind of at the last minute and helped get that book out there and help me self publish it. So, yeah, there was another obstacle, but I think I beat it. I hope I did.
Well, and you can always put the new information in the second edition.
Maybe. No, I'm ready to move on to another story.
You're like, I'm done with that. 12 years, 3 deletions, lug nuts. I'm ready for some new obstacles.
Some safer ones, yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do true crime, I don't know if it's going to get safer. But, new stories, new future, new things. I'm so excited that we've gotten to have this conversation, especially talking about obstacles and how they can be blessings. And before, I want to ask you some tips on obstacles in a minute. But for those of you entrepreneurs who are out there, the biggest obstacles usually that anybody faces as an entrepreneur is time and money. So I have a free guide out there for you all. It's the 3 secrets to maximize time and increase profits. These are things that the business gurus are not going to tell you, and you can only get this information here. You can open up your browser, of course, unless you're driving, don't do it. But type in bethewolfgift.com and you'll have access to that guide. Bethewolfgift.com so that you can overcome the obstacles of time and money in your business. And so now, as you faced all of these obstacles, what advice would you have? What tips would you have for people when they really want to do something, but these crazy obstacles keep coming up?
I think one of the main things that I would tell people is to always believe in yourself. Look deep down inside yourself and see what your strengths are, and let those be what push you. We always have self doubt. I mean, that's just I think it's human nature. I mean, I guess it is because I know everybody has self doubts,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to overcome them. We also have strengths. And for those strengths that we have to let those be what pull us up and push us out there. We all have a purpose. I firmly believe that. We're all here. We all have a purpose. We all have something we're supposed to do in the world. Whatever it is, it's big. For us, each of us, it's big. It could be something as much as making someone's day, bringing light to someone's life, smiling, being just going out of your way just to say hi. We all have a purpose. And we have to remember that. We have to remember that our strengths, they have to be a lot stronger than our self-doubt. We need to remember that. Because there were times when I wanted to give up and I kept thinking, wait a minute, I can do this. This I know how to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing when we think about the strengths, it's focusing on what we have, not what we lack. When we think about our weaknesses, we focus on what we lack. When we focus on what we lack, it's really hard to keep that motivation to overcome the obstacle.
That's true. For me, when I was working on this story, I'm a personable kind of person. I mean,
Don't say.
people feel comfortable when they open up to me, and to me, that's a gift. That's a strength that not everyone has. And so I thought, okay, I might not have these court records, and I don't know how to go about getting them. I can't, I'm getting a lot of doors shut in my face, but I can talk to people. I was thinking, what can I do that'll get me where I need to be? Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody has something. They need to remember that. What's something you're most proud of?
Well, and the thing is, it's like if you're a strawberry and I'm an orange, you have things that I don't have. I have things that you don't have. Just because I don't have the little seeds on the strawberry and the little green hat doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. I have other things that are good that you don't have. And together, I mean, we make a great smoothie.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? We always have just what we need to get done what we need to do. We do. Right. If you think about that, it's so true.
Okay, so I have one last question. That moment when you discovered that your work was deleted the first time and it was just gone, what did that woman need to know at that moment to be able to shake off that disappointment?
I think she needed to know and didn't realize it at the time that it didn't matter what experience she'd had in writing, that she didn't need to self-doubt herself. She didn't need to think she couldn't do it because she was strong enough to do it. She was strong enough to do that and more. If I could go back and tell her something, it's keep going, because this is nothing compared to the final result of your work. And that's going to be what's amazing. In fact, my book is a finalist in the Page Turner Book Awards. Ooh. And I'm on the long list. I didn't know what that was. Laura had to explain it to me. I feel silly. I should know that. But I'm in the final list of with other authors. They're all amazing. And you know what? If I hadn't kept pushing and going, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So it's so worth it. If you have a dream or a goal or something you want to do, just keep going. Just see what happens.
Good. I think that is a perfect place to wrap up. So thank you, Pepper Ann, for being with us, sharing your struggles and overcoming of the obstacles. And remember, everybody, when you feel good about who you are and what you do, you evolve humanity. We'll see you all next time on Be the Wolf.